To change the potentiometer, it's best to do it on needle 14 or 15 so that the set screw is pointing up on this. So we're going to first loosen this screw up. And I think it's the 2mm one. Now, it may be best to actually just remove it because it doesn't go very far into that hole before it snugs down on the shaft. And then you want to pull it off and then disconnect it. I'm not going to disconnect it because I'm doing this with one hand. And before we actually plug in the new one, we want to make sure that that little hole right there, if you don't see it, just take your Allen wrench and kind of smear around and see if you can see that hole. That hole should be pointing exactly up, straight up. Another way that you can tell that you have it in the right spot is that you can move the head. You can't move the head, sorry. And so then what you want to do, you get the new potentiometer, and you may have to put on this bracket. You may not have to put on this bracket, and it's simply you take off this nut right here, and there's a little tiny hole, if you can see it right there, that this plate goes onto the new one, and then you tighten it down as tight as you can. You don't want it over tight, but you do want it fairly tight. Just so that it's snug and it's in place. And then we take our sensor, and what I'm doing over here is I'm going to be rotating it very slowly. And if we look at our screen, if we can get it without any glare, well, where we're looking is right there. And so according to this, we are on needle 14. So we're going to rotate this very slowly, rotate that sensor. This is the new sensor, by the way. So it says 14. Now if you have it say another number, like 13, just rotate it until you have 14. And if you ever feel any resistance on the sensor, just stop and go the other way. These sensors do have a limit, and if you go over that limit, it will break the sensor. So we very carefully have it in the number 14 position. And we're going to the best of our ability, insert it into the machine as straight as possible, lining up the groove on that plate with the groove with the post that's coming off on the machine. And now we're going to take our set screw, and we're going to put it in there. Now it may go off a little bit, which there's nothing wrong with that. As long as once you get it kind of in, you can move it back. And then we want to tighten down. Again, you can get it really tight, but you don't want to over tighten it so that you break the shaft. So till it's tight, and then go like 1/8 of a turn or a little bit less than that, so that you can't pull the sensor out, but you're not over tightening it. Now that we have the sensor in, it should still read 14. That little piece should still be up and on 14, and the sensor's in. So now we should be able to, at this screen, so this is the actual screen that I pushed to get to this. We go to 15, 13. We should be able to go through any of the needles. If not, let us know.